Hello, everybody. This is Daily App 20 something, and it's been a while. Actually, I haven't been doing a lot of these videos. But anyway, today I wanted to talk about something that caught my attention in the last few weeks, which is the fact that I feel like most women don't understand what femininity is. And that's a huge statement, right? So, what do I mean by this? More than like not understanding, I think that when you mention femininity, or like being feminine, to women they only view it in a very narrow way, which is the classical femininity. Because I've heard like so many of my female friends say like, yeah, but I'm not really feminine, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, I think that you're pretty feminine. And they're like, yeah, but I don't paint my nails, I don't like wear makeup, I don't like use dresses or like high heels. And I'm like thinking like, who like put this idea into women about that classical or traditional femininity is the only way of femininity? Because I feel like when you look at the other side, right? So for example, masculinity, we men, or at least my circle, my social circle, when we talk about masculinity, we don't think about that, oh, you wear like a suit, you're like a macho man and you're like an asshole boss, or like a CEO of a company. Sure, that's a form of masculinity, the more traditional one for sure. But you also have other types of masculinities, right? Like a guy that takes care of his garden and he really likes that and he puts in the effort, and it's like a farmer, or someone that builds things. Doesn't have to be like this asshole guy. He can be just like a leader, or even like take all of that outside. Like if you have an artist, right, who's more in touch with his emotions and it's more sensible or sensitive. I'm not so clear on the difference between those words. But the point being is that I feel like most men do understand that masculinity comes in many forms. But when I talk with girls, they only see femininity, at least, the first thing that comes to mind, it's only the traditional one. And I don't really have an answer on why is this. Some people might say, oh, society or like conditioning, but I don't know. I feel like once again, you could make the same argument for masculinity, that there's a very set traditional way of masculinity, very like macho man, like 80s movie protagonist, Arnold Schwarzenegger, that kind of stuff. But over time, we evolved to like understand that there's more masculinity than just that narrow view. But with femininity, and this is the weird part, because when I talk with guys, with my friends, we all understand that for a girl to be really feminine, she doesn't have to have that traditional sense of femininity. She doesn't have to wear high heels, wear makeup, be like, oh no, thank you. You know, you can have a girl that's like has like an explosive personality that doesn't dress up. That even dress down. I think that one of the cutest things that some girls can do is when they wear like the oversized hoodie. They're like in the house day clothes, and he looks so damn cute, man. Like I'm just like, oh man, I just want to hug them and like protect them and all of that stuff. So it's up to me that when I talk with a lot of girls, of my, once again, my female friends, and I tell them like, oh, I think that you're feminine, or they themselves say that I don't think that I'm so feminine because they do these things. It's like, where does this idea come from? And I don't have an answer for this, right? This is not a video where I'm like saying like, oh, it's definitely because of this. But yeah, I mean, it's something that once again cuts my attention. Because truth is that, sure, there's a lot of guys that really like that traditional femininity. But it's not all of them. And I'm not so sure that it's like most guys nowadays. Maybe if you go to older generations for sure, but for younger generations, and once again, I'm around 30 years old, it's not that way. And it hasn't been that way for like quite some time. So yeah, I wonder, just why is that thought into so many women's mind? And besides like posing that question, I would say it's a shame that they don't view these other things that a lot of women naturally do as feminine, because I mean it's in their nature, and for us men it's so clear, right? Like women don't want this like high produced girl. Well, once again, I'm not talking for all men because that's half of the world, but I'm talking about like the people that I know, the people that I talk to. We don't really like that like super high produced femininity. I'm gonna say like Sabrina Carpenter, right? I feel like she fits that mold, that figure pretty perfectly, right? A lot of makeup, a lot of like dresses, a lot of pink, and a lot of production. We men, and once again, the men that I know, and a big chunk of the men that I know, it's not the only thing that we like. A lot of men don't even like that. I personally don't like that much production in a person, either man or woman. We like that cuteness, and that cuteness doesn't have to come into this, once again, like shape of like the supermodel or like always looks good, right? Sometimes it's like, wear your day-to-day clothes and, smile and be cute, and that's it. And honestly, for me, that's already pretty feminine. Oh, look who's here. That's my neighbor, or so I call him. He steals my dog's food. So yeah, anyway, I don't want to drag on the video. I honestly, once again, if anyone's watching, I would like to hear your thoughts. Like, why so many women think of femininity as just that one narrow way of being feminine, when for guys it's pretty clear that there's so many ways of being feminine, and we like a lot of them, and sometimes we even prefer the simpler ones. Why? Well, I can talk for everybody, but to me, it's because they feel more natural, right? Like I cannot imagine like seeing once again like Sabrina Carpenter and like just woke up, she's next to me, we're like flipping pancakes because we haven't done breakfast. I feel like it would be like, oh, for let's make so many things. So it doesn't feel, I guess, like someone who would be around in my life. And on the flip side, whenever I see like a girl just with, like an oversized hoodie, like no makeup, maybe the hair is not done, but she looks happy, she looks approachable, that's really cute. And that makes me want to approach them. So, yeah, once again, I'm curious if anyone's watching this video. I'm curious to know what you guys think about it, or what you girls think about it. Actually, I would be even more interested into that point of view. But anyway, this has been Daily Yep. I'll see you guys in the next video.